Hello and welcome viewers. You're watching In Depth with your host Kriti Mishra. The 2027 census will be India's first to be conducted digitally. The government has informed that data collection will be done through mobile apps available on both Android and iOS platforms. The Ministry of Home Affairs has also informed that the house listing, which is the first phase of the census 2027, will be conducted from April 1st to September 30th, 2026 in all states and UTs, including a self-enumeration option. Population census is the total process of collecting, compiling, analyzing and disseminating demographic, economic and social data pertaining at a specific time of all persons in a country or a well-defined part of a country. It also provides the trends in population characteristics. The census is conducted by the Office of the Registrar General and Census Commissioner, Ministry of Home Affairs. Until 1951, the census organization was set up on an ad hoc basis for each census. Census is conducted under the provisions of the Census Act 1948. The bill for this act was piloted by Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, the then Home Minister of India. The population census is a union subject under Article 246 of Indian Constitution. It is listed at serial number 69 of the 7th schedule of the Constitution. The information collected during the population census is so confidential that it is not even accessible to the courts of law. The confidentiality is guaranteed by the Census Act of 1948. The law specifies penalties for both public and census officials for non-compliance or violation of any provision of the Act.
In 2010, then Prime Minister late Dr. Manmohan Singh ji had assured the Lok Sabha that the matter of caste census should be considered in the cabinet. A group of ministers was formed to consider this subject. Most of the political parties had recommended caste census. Despite this, Congress government decided to conduct only a survey of caste instead of a caste census. That survey is known as SECC. It is well understood that Congress and its India alliance partners have used caste census only as a political tool. As per Article 246 of the Constitution of India, the subject census is listed at 69 in the Union list in 7th schedule. According to Constitution of India, census is a union subject. Some states have conducted surveys, I am repeating the word, surveys to enumerate castes. Some states have done this well, while some others have conducted such surveys purely from a political angle in a non-transparent way. Such surveys have created doubts in the society. Considering all these facts and to ensure that a social fabric is not disturbed by politics, caste enumeration should be transparently included. I am emphasizing the word transparently included in the census instead of surveys. This will strengthen the social and economic structure of our society while the nation continues to progress. Under the leadership of our Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji, the Cabinet Committee of Political Affairs has decided today, that is 30th April 2025, that caste enumeration should be included in the forthcoming census. This demonstrates that a government is committed to the values and interests of a society and country. Like in the past, when a government had introduced 10% reservation for the economically weaker sections of the society without causing any stress in any section of the society.
Let's take a look at the history of census in India. Ancient and medieval period. The earliest literature, Rig Veda, reveals that some kind of population count was maintained during 800 and 600 BC in India. Arthashastra. Arthashastra by Kautilya, written in 3rd century BC, prescribed the collection of population statistics as a measure of state policy for taxation. Ain-e-Akbari. During the regime of Mughal King Akbar, the administrative report Ain-e-Akbari also included comprehensive data pertaining to population, industry, wealth, and many other characteristics. Pre-independence period. The history of census began with 1800 when England had begun its census. In its continuation, a census was conducted in Allahabad in 1824 and in Banaras in 1827 and 28 by James Prinsep. The first complete census of an Indian city was conducted in 1830 by Henry Walter in Dhaka, now Dhaka. The second census was conducted in 1836 and 37 by Fort St. George. In 1849, the Government of India ordered the local governments to conduct 5 yearly returns of population. First non-synchronous census. It was conducted in India in 1872 during the reign of Governor General Lord Mayo. First synchronous census. The census was taken under British rule on February 17, 1881 by W.C. Plowden, Census Commissioner of India. Since then, India has been conducting this massive exercise once every 10 years. Let's take a look at major events or findings in India's census. First census, 1881. It laid main emphasis on classification of demographic, economic and social characteristics of the entire continent of British India, except Kashmir and French and Portuguese colonies. Second census, 1891. It was conducted almost on the same pattern as of the 1881 census. Efforts were made for 100% coverage and the upper part of present-day Burma, Kashmir and Sikkim were also included. Third census, 1901. In this census, Balochistan, Rajputana, Andaman and Nicobar, Burma, Punjab and remote areas of Kashmir were also included. Fifth census, 1921. The decade of 1911 and 21 has been the only one till now to witness a decadal population decline of 0.31%. This was the decade that ended in the flu pandemic of 1918, which cost at least 12 million lives. India's population was continuously increasing until census 1921 and still has been doing so after the 1921 census. Therefore, the census year of 1921 is called the year of Great Divide in the demographic history of India. 11th census, 1971. It was the second census after independence. It added a question for information on fertility for currently married women. 13th census, 1991. It was the fifth census of independent India. In this census, the concept of literacy was changed and the children of the 7+ age group were considered literate as compared to 1981 when children up to the age group of +4 were treated as literate. 14th census, 2001. It witnessed a quantum leap in the technology front. The schedules for the phases were scanned through high-speed scanners and handwritten data from the schedules were converted into digitized form through intelligent character reading. An ICR captures handwriting from image files. It is an advanced version of optical character recognition technology in which printed characters are captured. 15th census, 2011. In the 2011 census, significant fall in case of EAG states, that is Empowered Action Group states like UP, Uttarakhand, Bihar, Jharkhand, MP, Chhattisgarh, Rajasthan and Orissa was noticed for the first time. 6th census, 2021. This was postponed owing to outbreak of COVID-19 pandemic. However, it will be the first digital census also with the provision for self-enumeration. It is for the first time that information of households headed by a person from transgender community and members living in the family will be collected. Earlier, there was a column for male and female only. Let's take a look at the details on socio-economic and caste census. The socio-economic and caste census was conducted in 2011 for the first time since 1931. It seeks to canvass every Indian family in rural and urban India and ask about their economic status to allow central and state authorities to come up with a range of indicators of deprivation which could be used by each authority to define a poor or deprived person. Specific caste name to allow the government to re-evaluate which caste groups are economically worse off and which are better off. Difference between census and socio-economic caste-based census. Field of coverage. The census provides a portrait of the Indian population, while the SECC is a tool to identify beneficiaries of state support. Confidentiality of data. The census data is considered confidential, whereas the data of SECC is open for use by government departments to grant and or to restrict benefits to the people. Significance of socio-economic caste census. Better mapping of inequalities. This census has the potential to allow for a mapping of inequalities at a broader level. It will be useful to establish statistical justification for preserving caste-based affirmative action programs or welfare schemes. Legally imperative. It is also legally imperative as the courts require a quantifiable data to support the existing levels of reservation. Constitutional mandate. The Constitution of India also favours conducting a caste census. Article 340 mandates the appointment of a commission to investigate the conditions of socially and educationally backward classes and make recommendations as to steps that should be taken by governments. So what is the rationale behind conducting a population census? Constitutional mandate. Many countries, including India, have constitutional provisions that require the conduct of a population census at regular intervals. It ensures compliance with legal requirements and safeguards the rights of citizens. Data for governance. A population census provides the government with accurate and comprehensive data on various demographic, social, and economic aspects. It serves as a fundamental data source for evidence-based policy making, governance, and public administration. Statistical foundation. Census data serves as the foundation for statistical systems and surveys. It provides a benchmark and sampling frame for conducting other surveys and data collection exercises, enabling representative and reliable sampling methods. Historical continuity. Population censuses have a long-standing tradition and historical significance. Conducting regular census allows for comparisons and analysis of demographic changes, societal trends, and historical patterns over time. National identity and documentation. Census data helps in establishing and maintaining national identity by documenting the characteristics, diversity, and composition of the population. It aids in understanding the nation's social fabric, cultural diversity, and linguistic patterns. What are the advantages associated with population census data? Policy planning and decision making. Census data provides policy makers and decision makers with accurate and reliable information about the population, enabling them to formulate effective policies, allocate resources, and plan for various sectors such as education, healthcare, infrastructure, and social welfare. Resource allocation. Census data helps in the equitable distribution of resources and services based on population size and demographic characteristics. It assists in determining the allocation of funds for public services like schools, hospitals, roads, and other essential facilities. Socio-economic analysis. Census data enables researchers, academics, and analysts to study demographic trends, population distribution, migration patterns, and socio-economic characteristics. It helps in understanding social dynamics, identifying disparities, and developing strategies to address social and economic issues. Electoral representation. Census data plays a vital role in determining the number of seats and boundaries for electoral constituencies. It ensures fair representation and proportional allocation of political power based on population size and distribution. Monitoring population changes. Regular population censuses provide a comprehensive and up-to-date snapshot of the population. They help monitor changes in population growth, fertility rates, mortality rates, migration trends, and other demographic indicators over time. The government aims to prioritize and expedite the start of census, ensuring that all necessary preparations, including house listing activities, are initiated at the earliest possible time. By promptly commencing the census, the government plans to avoid further delays and ensure that the data collection process is completed in a timely manner. Launching awareness campaigns and community outreach programs to educate the public about the importance of census and dispel any misconceptions or fears surrounding data collection is important. Engaging with local leaders, community organizations, and media platforms can help generate interest and promote active participation. Leveraging technology and digital tools to streamline data collection processes, improve accuracy, and minimize errors is also important. Mobile application, online portals, and self-enumeration options should be further developed and utilized effectively to enhance data quality and efficiency. The government also plans to foster collaboration between relevant departments, statistical agencies, and local authorities to ensure seamless coordination, resource allocation, and timely sharing of data for effective planning and policy formulation. Well, viewers, that's all we had for you in this edition. Thanks for watching and stay tuned to Sunset TV. Goodbye for now from my side.
सनसेट टीवी के और भी प्रोग्राम्स देखने के लिए सब्सक्राइब करें हमारा यूट्यूब चैनल और हाँ, इन्हें लाइक और शेयर करना ना भूलें।